I am absolutely excited. I've assembled a group of wonderful storytellers who will help me bring this story to life. I will let them introduce themselves, starting with Lady Chrysanthemum. Who are you when you're not living your best hedonist life?
Oh, shucks. Well, I am no longer than the glorious Abby, but you can find me on the internet as Enough of Abby wherever you want. I like to talk about Indigenous issues, goofery, and cryptids, but for now, I will be taking on the mantle of our delectable young hedoness, Miss Chrysanthemum Gardner.
Mm, Lady Chrysanthemum Gardner.
Of course, can't forget the title.
Can't forget that. And next up, Lady Dahlia. Who are you when you're not being absolutely intellectual and awesome as our dowager?
Hi, hello. I'm Abaddon, DK for short because my whole name is very, very long. You can find me at Abadarlings on Twitter and pretty much anywhere else in the world. When I'm not here, I'm over on Exquisite Corpse Presents running games of D&D that I have broken very, very badly. There is, in fact, going to be a new one coming up later on this month that you can find Abby in as well. Um, and today I will be playing Lady Dahlia, the eccentric dowager.
Excellent. And last but not least for this evening, Lady Iris. Who are you when you're not uh, being awesome and being our socialite?
Oh, we cannot hear you, Kristen.
Mm.
Okay, can I be heard now?
Yeah.
Yay! There
Okay,
you are!
my somehow one of my mic cords got. I apologize. Okay, hello. I am Kristen. When I'm not here, you can find me every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern over on twitch.tv/dauntless, playing in a D&D 5e pirate homebrew. Um, and it's fantastic. And then also I'm available for other TTRPG opportunities, and I will be playing Lady Iris Gardner, the socialite that is popular but also seen as very selfish.
Excellent. As I mentioned before, we are playing Good Society, a game by Story Brewers Role Playing, and my absolute favorite game right now. We are also using an expansion with some extra rules. I move things around and heavily modified this game. So if there are things that you do not recognize are happening, if you are familiar with the rules as written, I will walk everybody through it so that you will get the flow of the game. Um, um, One of the changes that I have made is that I have moved what is called the passage of time to the beginning of a cycle. Because the story, because we are starting the story this evening, what I am going to do is I'm going to ask each of the players to uh, have a weather related interlude to introduce their character, just so we can get to know them a little bit. Um, and essentially, everyone is traveling to Avondale. They're getting ready for the start of the social season. You are all traveling to your ancestral home, which is the Spring Blossom Estate, and you are all you're gonna be there about a week ahead of the Queen's Ball, which is the first major event of the season, and that is where um, you will all have your novel chapter. But for now, what I would like each of you to do is consider which of the weather interludes you would like to have, and then let me know who wants to break the ice and go first and introduce their character.
Just looking over these interludes, and I have to say, Dusk seems particularly interesting for Chrysanthemum's current predicament.
Oh, all right. So tell us about Lady Chrysanthemum and where she's at, during this dusk, and tell us about her and what her situation is like.
We've all been called back to the house, of course, and Lady Chrysanthemum is fashionably late, we'll say. She arrives at dusk, dressed in a bit of a garish gown, a low cut, something scandalous, and her hair is punched up in a way that screams siren. As she approaches, there's a bit of curiosity in how she looks at everything, a mix of mischief. Overall, she's looking almost for a sense of, how can I mess this up in a way that's going to make everyone laugh?
And
but of course,
and when she enters, there's all of the staff, uh, you know, helping her get her things, and they're all just moving around her, And as the youngest gardener, she eats this up. It's her. She loves this.
it's attention. How could I not? As a youngest sibling, I thrive on it.
And yeah, so tell us about your interlude. The interlude is a monologue. So tell us what's going on in Chrysanthemum's mind.
I have just returned from a lovely holiday with a certain gentleman who've, well, I wouldn't call it courting per se. There hasn't been any exchange of rings. Our families haven't been notified. It isn't forbidden. It's rather an open secret. Nobody quite mentions it, but it's out there in the air. None other than the glorious Arthur Doyle, who I've been visiting regularly. But as much as I enjoy him and he enjoys my parties and he seems to enjoy me, I must wonder, is anything going to come of this? I could see myself spending my life with him, growing old and gray. But I fear that he might not feel the same way, and I don't wish to feel his rejection. So we can keep this facade on, this meeting in clandestine estates and going for garden walks.
That is quite the predicament for Lady Chrysanthemum. Who's next? Who's feeling it?
I think I would like to do Day, if that is all right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. By all means, set the stage for this interlude.
As the oldest sibling, Dahlia has kind of been running after everyone in the family, making sure that they have the correct items that they're going to need. They have all of their outfits for all of the days that they're going to be gone packed, picking up small lost articles under things that didn't quite make it into the baggage. And upon arriving is simultaneously making sure that her sisters make it into the house and is scribbling in what looks like scribbling in a journal without looking where she is going, because she knows this path very well by this point.
And as as she enters, Lady Dahlia is met with a chorus of "Hello, Lady Dahlia" from all of these familiar staff. Spring Blossom Estate is very well staffed, and there's one uh, lady in particular. Uh, she's essentially the head of staff. An elderly, gray-haired woman with uh, severe features. Someone who looks like they can run the house. Um, uh, Mrs. Um, Audrey McIntyre, which is the head. She essentially runs the house, and she says, "Lady Dahlia, it's nice to see you. Uh, I hope your trip is doing well. Let me see if I can get someone to help you with the luggage." And, it's just the typical welcome that you get when you get here. And shall I prepare some tea to send to your study?
That would be wonderful. There's something about having a fresh cup of tea when you first return home. I think I'd like that very much. Thank you.
Of course, I do know how much you enjoy some time to yourself in the study.
Well, after being cooped up in the carriage all this time, I could certainly use a few minutes away. Definitely.
Well, I've been a member of the staff of this estate for far too many years. I can understand how chaotic your siblings might be. In any case, I am going to go take care of that for you right away. And it's lovely to meet you. Or it's lovely to see you again. And she scurries off along with the rest of the staff that's helping you get settled. So what do you do? What are you um, enjoying as far as the simple joys or the business of life? What does that look like?
I think finally making it to her study and finding that hot cup of tea, she sinks into her big plush chair behind her big desk that's kind of fitted to her after all these years and takes out her notebook again and starts to write a list of simple joys. Long carriage rides with my family, particularly my sister's giggling in the back of the carriage. The first cup of tea when you arrive home from a long journey. The welcome when you arrive home from a very long journey. The excitement of an upcoming event, I suppose. They've never really been for me, but I know that my sisters do enjoy them, and I enjoy seeing them enjoy things, so the excitement in the air is palpable. Seeing my things, my study, my library finally getting back to work, the holiday was wonderful, but these chapters won't write themselves, so it's good to finally be back where I belong, with almost all of the people that belong here.
Yeah, almost everyone. Hmm. And Lady Iris, your choice for your interlude?
Yes. So I think that Iris would probably be overcast, broody, contemplative, mulling over difficult questions.
Okay. And so I would say this is probably sometime after the arrival, maybe a day or two. What does that look like for Lady Iris?
Um, she would be really withdrawn um, with her family. If there were guests or anything around, she would put on a front and be very socialite, extroverted, intentional, engaged. But if it were just her family around, that would drop a little bit and it would be noticeable. She would probably be slightly short-tempered with them, snippy, not very interested in detailed conversation about things going on, unless it was gossip about somebody else, but nothing about herself.
Okay. And I have one question about that. Does any of that have to do with a certain missing sibling?
Yes. The absence of the sibling that Iris has a very deep connection with definitely has her feeling a little bit more alone and isolated than normal. The person who sees her and understands her the most not being around is definitely not a happy thing for her.
Okay. And as you all settle into the estate, as you all, get acquainted with your lives back in Avondale, it takes a couple of days, but you finally see one of your mothers emerge. Lady, sorry, I know my characters. Sorry. Lady Elena Montgomery. So, I don't know how this works for you as siblings, how you refer to your parents. But she's one of your moms. I don't know, mama, mom, you know. Figure that out amongst yourselves.
Mama,
I have
for
no idea.
sure.
Okay, I have no idea. She finally
Mother.
she finally
Yeah.
emerges. Mother.
Mother.
She finally emerges to check in with all of you. And she says she has the staff prepare a meal, lunch for everyone, and has them gather you all. And she looks a little bit concerned. And you all know that your other mom has not been feeling up for traveling. She seems okay health-wise, but she has been at the estate for an extended amount of time. And when Lady Elena walks into the room, there's a certain feeling of concern. And just to remind you all, so in this version of the Regency era, women can inherit titles, have entailed estates, and all of that. However, those titles pass on to their children and not their spouses. So your other mom has been doing a lot of her duties and her, whatever is required of a duchess, running a duchy, doing politics. But you all know that there has been a significant level of slowing down in your mother's activities. And I don't know how you all feel about that, but you definitely have that information, and you can definitely tell that your mom is concerned about this. She also seems a little extra stressed that you may or may not understand. And she sits down at the head of the table and she says, My my children, my flowers, I am so pleased to see you all in bloom. I know that we have been through a lot. And she looks towards Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum. Um, we've weathered every storm that has come this family's way. Every scandal, every trouble that we've had, but I don't know how I can prepare the family for this. I just wish that your sibling were here to be a part of this conversation. Have any of you heard from Kira?
Not recently.
Your mother
Not since
insists.
the last tea party I attended with Arthur. So nothing, not at all.
Your mother says that she is fine, but there's a significant slowdown in her activities. I keep trying to convince her to relax, not to work so much, but she won't hear it. I've convinced her to stop traveling as much into London for political business, but there's only so much I can do. I think that perhaps it's time. And she looks to Dahlia with a very serious look and she says, I think that at some point you will need to work with your mother to start taking on more responsibilities. You know, learning, training, uh, in case her health goes
Of
bad.
course, whatever she needs.
She would never tell any of us what she needs. She's a very strong willed woman who knows her mind. That's why I fell in love with her.
Well, unfortunately, the two of you raised very clever children, so she's not as good at hiding from us as she thinks she is.
Children probably more stubborn than she is.
If anything, we'll nose out any problem she has, Mama. Promise.
Don't tell her I said this, but I am absolutely proud of each one of you. Even proud of the wayward child.
Who could that be?
Don't be silly. I know their departure last season was very upsetting, but when they're ready, we must set our feelings aside and welcome them back with open arms. I know that siblings have their moments of not getting along and clashing, but I believe now more than ever we need to come together as a family. I just wanted to have this conversation with all of you before the Queen's Ball. I hope you all are excited to attend this year. I know Anthem might be a time to find you an appropriate match after all of the handling of the trouble of the last season.
Do we know if Mother will also be able to attend?
Well, we'll have to see how her health holds up. We'll see how she feels closer to the time.
I'm certainly hoping her health will be fine enough to attend. After all, there's going to be quite a few people of importance there, and Mother has always been a fierce iron dragon of a woman herself.
Well, I have no idea how this is going to go. But I thought it was best to prepare you, just in case.
Yes, but Mother knows that I can be sent in her place to socialize and smooth the guests there, so to speak.
As Iris is speaking, Chrysanthemum, I'm just gonna. Yeah.
This is why people don't respect you, Chrysanthemum.
And this is why you haven't bedded anyone in 3 weeks.
Ooh.
Both of
how
you,
little
not
do
the
you
time.
know.
Of course,
Yes.
everyone knows that if there was anyone to be sent in her place, it would be Dahlia.
But see, Dahlia doesn't even want it. That just seems unfair.
I don't want to go to the party. That's all. I'm fine with the title and the business and the signing of papers. I don't want to go to a party and talk to people.
That's what
Chrysanthemum's
I'm
just gonna
for.
then. Have you forgotten who threw the last ball? How many gentlemen I attracted who are both begging at your feet like dogs? I can handle the parties, sister. Trust me.
Well,
One of us throws respectful parties, one of us throws not quite that caliber.
in any case, children, I suppose because you are all long-standing members of society now, you will not need to go to deal with the official part of this event. But I think that it would benefit all of you to, perhaps see who's out there, who's eligible, and who might be good for business, good for politics, you know.
At the mention of like who's out there who might be good for you, the matchmaking kind of language, Iris would like kind of shut down a little bit and go like stony faced, and immediately like withdraw from the conversation. Clearly upset by those suggestions.
Chrysanthemum also is gonna go uncharacteristically quiet. She's just gonna stuff her mouth with a sandwich and look at her feet.
Yeah, so the meal continues, and you all have had the serious conversation with your mom. And after the meal, you're all free to retreat. If there's any scenes you want to do here, I'd be open to all of you taking the floor. Any suggestions?
I'd like to go see the Duchess.
Oh yeah, go right ahead. Sorry.
Okay. It's okay.
No,
so
you go first, Abby.
Hold on. You want to see the Duchess, Abby?
I was actually going to say I would like to pull Iris into a little bit of a fight, so to speak, but rather just a verbal exchange. But spiteful
By all
nonetheless.
means.
Okay, so set the scene. Is this after dinner? Like, do you intercept her? Go ahead. You have the floor.
I think it's as we're leaving, like maybe like Iris will like walk up mournfully, and Chrysanthemum would like purposely body check her just on the way out. Like, didn't have much to say when Mother brought up matches, now did you?
Oh, neither did you though, did you, darling?
Oh, Chrysanthemum's just gonna go pink in the face and, pull up to her full height. Well, at least I have a gentleman who wants me more for my mind. And my fun. You just want people who read your stupid little letters.
I haven't any clue what you're talking about, dear.
Oh, please, we all see the candlelight under your door at night. All you have are pen mates. If you actually want someone who cares about you, why don't you just loosen up a bit?
Oh, oh, sweet, sweet child, there's so little that you actually know about me. I wonder if we're siblings at all.
As you guys are having this conversation, there is one of the staff, like one of the maids, holding reading, walking and reading, and it's a novel by Irene Farmer, just walking over.
Iris does her best to not make eye contact or look at it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chrysanthemum once again, she's gonna regain her composure, just take a deep breath. Well, anywho, I was going to attend a seance with some of the other girls. We are going to summon forth a pirate. He was considered a great lover of his time, but I doubt you'd go to those kinds of things, would you?
No, because I'm...
I'd also be quite a eligible gentleman.
Yes, see, that would be the problem, is the gentleman part, Chrysanthemum. Not interested in gentlemen. I don't know how many times I have to say this.
Well, I'm just saying, you could walk away with a girl as well. It's just that you're no fun to be around. You're like a storm cloud. And with that, Chrysanthemum is just going to dramatically sweep up her skirts and stomp out the room.
You realize that the sun often burns people.
Yes, but what's a little fun without a bit of sunburn?
That makes sense to nobody.
Just like a stomp upstairs.
So, as as this exchange is going on, Lady Dahlia is making her way to see her other mother, her Lady Kerria Gardner. The hold on, I know what I'm doing. Heck yeah. Hold on. The Duchess of Wessex, and she, when you find her, Dahlia, she is lying in bed with a book in hand, and she's wearing her glasses. She's in a nightgown, and she's basically still trying to work, but trying to do it in bed, where her wife will basically leave her alone because technically she's resting, but she's really not. She's the workaholic mom. And she says, come on in, darling, when you knock on the door.
Hello, Duchess. Dahlia is very attached to both of her mothers, as she is to her entire family, but I think she is the most like Lady Camilla. And I also think that Lady Camilla was the most indulgent of having sort of a strange child who grew up to be a strange adult. So they're very kind of in tune with each other. Also, Dahlia exclusively calls her the Duchess or the Duchess of Wessex. She never calls her mom because she thinks it's funny. So she sort of sweeps in, and instead of sitting in the chair that's at the bedside, she sits on the bed next to her mother and just looks at her very seriously. Kind of almost not aggressively, but suspiciously, as if she's trying to see where the slowing down is taking place, and finally takes the book from her mother's hand and says, "My eyesight's better. At least let me help, if we're both going to get in trouble with Lady Elena."
She has always been the one to take care of things such as emotional well-being and, taking care of the little details about everyone's health. She's always been much better about that than I ever was. I What I know is politics. What I know is business. What I know is getting things done. And I don't think I could have done it without her support. So, what I'm doing is I'm trying to take more time to be present. And she kind of clears her throat, like, but I don't know how to turn it off, my darling. I need to be productive. I need to be doing this. I need to be doing this work. I need to be doing this for our family. I don't know how to not be in fight mode. I fought for this family for so long. I fought for your I fought for your siblings as if they were my own blood. I don't know how to be anything else. How do I
Well,
stop being someone I've been for so long, Dahlia?
who says you have to stop? You simply adjust, don't you? How about a
Simply adjust.
compromise? You can still work, but instead of doing the work yourself, show me. Eventually, I'll inherit the title, and I'll need to know this anyway, and who better to learn it from than you? Who could teach me how to do a better job of taking care of this family than you?
Okay, that's what we're doing. We'll figure this out together. And she gives you a kiss on the forehead, like a very delicate kiss on the forehead, like she's always done since you were little. And she says, things have been so different since you were a child and your father passed. Um, it's always been, you know, the two of us. And she smiles because, that connection, the very similar vibes that they have. And she's just like, I'm just very glad, very thankful to have you, my dear. And thank you for looking out for your siblings the way you do.
I all but asked for them, so I think it's only fair that I look after them.
It's true. I For a long time I was very sad that I couldn't give you the siblings you asked for. Um,
To tell you the
in any
truth, the
case,
siblings I got are much better than the ones that I asked for.
well, it's true. I could not be any prouder of each and every single one of you. Still have not had word from Kira?
If I think that if Kiera was going to speak to anyone, it probably wouldn't be me. But from what I can tell of Iris, which is always difficult these days, no.
I'm sure whatever their reasons are, they'll share them when they're ready. I know that I know that it pains you to deal with the social parts of what comes with the status of our family and my title in particular. Um, but I need you to be there uh, at the end of this week at the Queen's Ball, just to keep an eye on your siblings and make sure nothing gets too out of hand. After Chrysanthemum's failed engagement last year and, uh, you know, scandals of that nature, we we need to make sure that the Gardner name is still good in society, you know?
Of
You're the
course
only
I
one I
will.
can,
I
you're the only one
promise
I
I
can
will.
trust.
Well, thank you, Mother. I promise I will check the hem length of Chrysanthemum's dress before we go, just to be safe.
Heaven forbid she shows any more ankle. Oh,
They
I,
can't. They can't possibly get any higher, can they?
oh, I hope not. You are a wonderful older sibling, and I know that there are some things you'd rather not do, and I hate putting a lot of it on you, but there's no one else I feel can do it. I adore your siblings, but they're no you, and she boops you on the nose.
Well, you have your job, and I have my job, and the benefit of not being me is that they get to be them, and they're both quite a lot of fun themselves, I think.
And the truth is, all I've ever wanted for all of you, all we've ever wanted as your mothers, is for you to be who you are. And that is what we have fought for. We have fought for each of you to have your place. And we fought for all of you to be recognized as equals, regardless of uh, genetics or biology. So that is all we've ever wanted, for all of you to thrive and be who you are.
Well, thanks to our luck in the matriarchy department, I think we will. I think we'll manage.
I'm so proud of you, my dear. Is there anything else you wanted to speak about this evening?
No, Mother, I hadn't seen you since we arrived, and I just wanted to check in on you, look at you with my own two eyes.
Hmm. There is a servant that comes in to for the evening, like just the usual check, and Lady Camilla gestures to them, like, if you don't mind, bring me an extra teacup with my tea this evening. Um, yeah, the um, the lavender tea, please. And the servant kind of just nods and scurries off. If you're not doing anything, I wouldn't mind the company for my evening tea.
I wouldn't mind being the company. And she sort of toes off her shoes and gets more comfortable on the bed next to her mother.
And is there anything else anybody wanted to do before our novel chapter?
I would like to do just like a quick little like vignette of um one Iris would write to their sibling who is not present and just quickly say mother isn't doing well.
Okay. Okay. There is an epistolary phase where you can write this letter.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you wanted to elaborate on that later, but you can say during that phase that it was a letter you wrote in a specific time. It's
Okay.
it's easy. But I will say you do write that letter. I will make a note of that. But you can
Okay.
elaborate on that later. At the end of the week is the Queen's Ball. If you can picture what it's like in Bridgerton, because I'm totally my major inspiration for this. It is essentially that. Um, but when the different families present their eligible children, you see their eligible men and women, non-binary people, whoever decides to engage. It is not specifically, oh, present your eligible female children. So it is a more inclusive version of what you would see on Bridgerton. Um, and so this evening, is there anything you would be doing in preparation before going to the ball on that particular day?
For Chrysanthemum in particular, there would be, much to her nature, a very spiteful and a very petty, we'll say, reason that she's getting ready. She is picking out the most extravagant gown, extravagant outfit, because she knows for a fact that Esther is going to be attending, her ex-fiance, and I want her to know that I am doing just fine without her. I am blossoming.
As you should. You're a beautiful flower of the Gardner family. And you have one of your chambermaids who's helping you get dressed, because everybody has one of those if they so want, if they so choose to have someone help them get into their very extravagant outfits.
Oh yes, and I'm shit talking to all of them about Esther and seeing if they've heard anything.
Like where the other siblings might have one or two people helping them get ready for a party, Chrysanthemum has like half a dozen people like milling around about, and they are all like listening to her with their rapt attention, like, oh, of course, she's terrible.
Arthur took me to this lovely garden, and you wouldn't believe who was in the carriage right next to us. Esther and her younger sister. Of course, I don't believe that I'm not as vain as to believe that she would follow me all the way to that shire, but I think she did, personally.
Absolutely
I don't think
jealous.
she's over me.
She is absolutely jealous. Like, all of the maids are like, yeah, no, she's absolutely jealous, and she's jealous of you moving on. She's like, and one of the chambermaids is like, she's gonna regret breaking up with you, and like they're basically just feeding your ego by agreeing with you all the time. That's what they're there for.
Hype men.
Of course, that's what we paid them for.
They're Regency hype men. What are the preparations looking for the rest of you?
Iris would have one of the like family confidant workers rush like you go and it's there in 15 minutes, or else a letter to Lucy, her childhood like lover, to meet up at the ball. Like, she's requesting like, hey, I know this is last minute, I'm going. I'll be wearing your favorite dress of mine.
Okay, so here's what happens, right? There is one particular of your chambermaids. You have a couple of them, but there's one of them that you've handpicked when you were younger that you really particularly appreciate, because they are discreet and, like the kind of person Iris could trust. And I don't know what you can give her a name, or I'll give her a name, but essentially this chambermaid,
Annabeth.
Okay, so Annabeth is in your chambermaid. Annabeth has as soon as she comes in to help you get ready, and she sees you writing, she's like, okay, this is happening. And she's like, Lady Iris, do I have your permission to borrow the horse?
Of course. Make haste.
And basically, whenever Iris asks for something to be delivered quickly, she like sneaks off with Annabeth sneaks off with your horse, so that
yeah,
so it could be done. And
perfect.
Okay, so has Annabeth has done as you wished. There's a couple of other chambermaids that are helping you get ready, get dressed.
Yeah. Just to wrap up what Iris is up to, she would get dressed in what she knew was, at least last time, Lucy's favorite dress of hers, which is probably something very dark blue and pretty. And then also she would just be like muttering to herself the hope that Sophia Lovelace does not show up to this event and that she does not have to run into her secret booty call and maintain two different identities at once. So she's just like, please don't. Universe, for once, work in my favor. Yeah, that would be her preparation, is panic and anxiety.
Okay.
Dahlia is in her study until the very last minute, going over just some papers that she got from the Duchess before she is all but dragged away by her sole and incredibly faithful chambermaid, Althea, who has been dressing her for a very, very long time and knows that if not prompted and or forcibly taken to go be dressed, will not be dressed on time. And I think she opts for something with pants and then kind of a huge bustle skirt. So technically she is within code, but is also comfortable. And should she feel the desire to climb a tree while no one is looking, that remains an option for her. And
absolutely. And
aside
Althea,
from that, she's just waiting for Ulysses, who she makes come with her to events like this so that people don't try and court her.
Althea has probably even done some of the modifications to the dresses so that Dahlia continues to have the option to run/climb a tree. Like, I picture Althea as like this middle-aged, like older woman, right? And she has done this for Dahlia since she was a child. Like, I'll modify her dresses so you can run around a little bit.
Wonderful and terrifying woman.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, Althea was like kind of a the one that was, looking after Dahlia and trying to keep her trying to keep her out of trouble as a child, and that was not an easy feat. And yet she's still here somehow. Um but she also like adores Dahlia. So you all have your chambermaids and people that help you, and they have stayed loyal, so yeah. um I have a question to pose to a group. What time do you get there? And are you all riding in the same carriage? Like, because Dahlia was tasked with keeping the family on track. How does this play out?
Iris would ride in the same carriage as Dahlia if Dahlia wanted that to happen.
Chrysanthemum would put up a whole fight about it, but secretly, she does want the support of her siblings. She's terrified if Esther sees her. She's not gonna let them know that.
I think as the oldest, it is very much a thing of just cutting eyes at people as I see them starting to try and sneak away, particularly in Chrysanthemum's case, just sort of waiting until she turns around and letting her see that I see her and just waiting patiently for her to walk over to the carriage. And just before Chrysanthemum gets to the steps to get into the carriage, just kind of poke my head in so that both of them can hear me and say, I think since it's our first event of the season, and I want to vomit even saying this, it would look best for the family if we put up a united front and arrived together.
Fine.
I mean, I'm an adult. I can handle these sorts of things myself, but I understand your judgment, Dahlia.
In appreciation for you not raising a bigger fight about this, I will not tell the Duchess how high your hemline is this evening.
That's quite gracious of you, Dahlia, actually. You should take her up on that deal.
Chrysanthemum is like her entire face is just gonna turn bright pink, and she's just gonna mutter out, "Thank you, sister."
In you go.
Just go right in, obedient little puppy.
I have a question for Dahlia. Is the situation with Ulysses I meet you there situation, or did you guys is he coming over to get a ride with you guys?
He knows what the drill is supposed to be, but he is
Well, I
also
mean,
sort of absent-minded and enjoys being out in the woods, so knowing him, he just remembered that he has something to do this evening and has rushed home to get clean, so I assume that he will meet me there.
okay. I mostly just wanted to know. Yeah, so he's a hunting kind of guy. Likes to
He
hunt
just
and
likes
stuff.
being outside and being in the mud and things. He just likes adventuring.
Yeah,
Right?
he's that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Oh, okay. Um, the Regency lumberjack.
Yep.
Oh
um,
my.
Yes.
so you all make your way to the ball. How close to being on time are you? Dahlia, since you are.
Fashionably late. I would like to arrive on time, but I also know that my sisters do have a reputation to uphold. And I also know that Esther is going to be here. So we arrive fashionably late, and I will go out first in the event that Esther is there, and then allow my younger two sisters to decide how they would like to exit the carriage.
Okay. And how do you all exit the carriage?
Iris would wait for Dahlia, but then immediately like make an entrance out of the carriage. She has her socialite hat on now. She knows that she has to be purposeful and deliberate in her interactions with people. That winning favor is important, and she is mustering up like all of her influential social capital that she has amongst this crowd and wearing it proudly, and just strutting forward.
Whereas I want to say my sister is going in with dignity, grace, gravitas. Chrysanthemum is entering like a star exploding. She has chosen a celestial theme for her outfit, so she just explodes out of the carriage, one of her long sleeves revealing her arm. Like, it would almost be a Disney moment. You're expecting birds to fly out at any moment, but she's letting her hair loosely hang from her shoulders with her short-hemmed skirt and dangerously cut low dress with a "I've returned, darlings."
So essentially, she's chosen the Regency version of violence with her
Truly.
Yes.
social violence. She's just like, I'm here. Okay,
Look at
I'm
all
not
my
allowed to bring
skin.
knives. Look at all. I
I
was allowed to bring knives, so I'm engaging in social violence.
social violence specifically, but that's the only violence that's happening right now. I would like to spend hold on. Can I do the thing? Hold on. Can I spend a facilitator resolve token? No, okay, I would like to spend a facilitator resolve token um for Delilah, um, Esther's sister, uh, to see Chrysanthemum arrive. Would you be okay with that, Abby?
Oh my god, the more theatrics, the better. Let her see. Her see my bared ankles.
Actually, okay. I will instead spend I forgot that she has resolve tokens. Cool. I will spend one of Delilah's resolve tokens and give it to you then, Chrysanthemum, if you accept this encounter. Are you
How
good
could
with
I not?
it?
I am
Okay.
honored.
Okay, so what happens here is that the LeFay sisters are actually they have entered the ballroom right before uh, the Gardner carriage arrived, so they've just arrived at the party. Um, and Delilah essentially sees the Gardners coming in and like distracts her sister and basically just kind of sees Chrysanthemum and then starts talking to her sister to not make any drama. And then when Chrysanthemum walks by, she just waves and essentially signals. She makes this face like, so Esther knows. So Esther kind of knows you're here, but not. But it's Delilah who has clocked your presence, not necessarily Esther, because Esther has her back turned to you when you're walking by.
She can't even face me. Good.
As a note for the viewers, our players are not only playing their main characters, the gardeners, but they're also playing connections, which are NPCs in this game. So it's going to get a little bit hectic as we all figure out who we're playing in this scenario. Please continue. Are you going to do anything?
I am actually. As she gives me this, please don't make it worse, Chrysanthemum is going to take that as encouragement as, please make this worse. She's just going to stroll over. Dahlia, as I live and breathe, it is so good to see you. Just take her hands. So
Delilah is
lovely.
just like, oh my god, please. And she's so embarrassed at this point. She's like, and she's looking at her older sister, like Esther, and just be like, oh, it's been too long, Chrysanthemum.
It has, and your first season, I must say, you are positively glowing.
And there's an awkward, like, timid look towards Esther. Who's like, oh,
I have a question of
yeah.
if this is a question I believe both for our facilitator and for Abby. Could I spend a resolve token to have Iris see this awkward situation and sweep in with her socialite grace to try and smooth it over and, like, you know?
Before my ex rips my eyes out. Great idea.
So the question would go to Abby because it is in the interest of her, like her character would be the most directly affected. So it's up to her.
I would be absolutely honored. I am here for shenanigans. Create them as you will.
Okay.
Fantastic. All right. So Iris, her attitude at this event, and usually events where she is present with her family, is to especially keep an eye on what they're up to. Honestly, largely for the sake of her own reputation, and her association with her family. And so she always knows to keep an extra eye on Chrysanthemum, because obviously. And so once she sees this interaction going down, she would gracefully slip through the crowd, giving, brief, like, oh, hello, yes, how are you doing? It's wonderful to see you. I'll talk to you later, actually. I'm on my way over here. And would make her way over to her sister and Delilah and Esther and go, Delilah, Esther, oh my goodness, it's so fantastic to see you, darlings. It's been quite some time, actually.
And Delilah's just like, it's nice to see you again, Lady Iris. And Delilah is very, like, reserved, by comparison to her sister.
You look fantastic, Delilah. How have those efforts that you've been up to been going? Can you tell me what it is you've been up to lately again? I forget. Was it a bakery or something else?
Uh, the the plans with the bakery are on hold. I wasn't able to get to the city very much before the start of this season, so
Well, that's understandable, dear. If you ever need any sort of transportation arranged for you, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help you with your endeavors. You matter, you know.
Oh yes, of course. Our family does have the funds for such, and as Chrysanthemum says that, she's just gonna make direct eye contact with Esther.
It's and Delilah just starts feeling extremely awkward. Like, it's nothing like that, I promise. My family just wanted to prepare me for this upcoming season, so there was no time for business. And she's just like, uh, if you'll excuse me, I have to step away for a moment. And what she does is she tactically retreats and leaves Esther, Chrysanthemum, and Iris there.
Iris, by the way, is like giving her sister the side eye of like, you better pull it together. Not here, not at this event, not now.
I think Chrysanthemum is going to catch on to that. She's gotten her spiteful little poke in, caused a bit of stir, and say, well, it was lovely speaking to you and your sister, Miss LeFay, but really, we've got to be going. And she's just gonna grab Iris's arm and like lead her away in a sparkling wave.
Iris goes along with Chrysanthemum, but is so not jazzed about it. Like, is absolutely not into the my younger sibling just grabbed me by the arm and decided to lead me away, but for the sake of saving face, she's smiling and like greeting people as they walk through the crowd, but under her breath with gritted teeth, she's like, don't ever grab me by the arm and pull me away again, darling.
Chrysanthemum again with like the gritted teeth and the fake smiles be like, well, maybe next time you can let me handle my own affairs. I was about to make her leave.
Yes, by making a complete ass of yourself and the rest of the family. Don't do that.
I was doing so with grace, like Dahlia would have done, but fine. And she's just gonna let go of her arm.
So as this encounter ends, when Dahlia enters, there's a voice behind her that says, didn't think I'd make it, did you? And it is the familiar voice of her longtime friend, Ulysses. Tell me more about him. I'm not sure if he's like a lord or like what's his vibe? Is he new money, old money? What's his deal?
He's a lord, old money. They were often paired together at events like this when they were younger, and everyone sort of expected that they would get married, and instead they would run out back and catch frogs. So yeah. They've been getting in trouble together for a long time.
So he's from the peerage as well. Okay.
He's also badly behaved, yes.
Badly... It's funny because you're so used to badly behaved members of the peerage. And as you look at your siblings, walking off. Regency bad boy. Hashtag Regency bad boy.
If he could have a leather jacket, he would definitely.
He yeah, and what do you figure he looks like? Just to kind of help me paint the image of this guy.
I think he's probably about 6 foot with just kind of tawny brown hair and very, very intense blue eyes, but kind of an affable look on his face. Almost like there's always a joke that only he is aware of. So no matter what, he seems to always be having a great time or to be laughing at you, and it's very hard to tell which if you don't know him very well.
Of course, you, as someone who's known him from childhood, you can tell the difference. But really, at this point, Ulysses is just kind of just amused at like what's happening around him with your other siblings and just all of the stuffiness of the event. And he says, I'll have you know that I was ready a whole 5 minutes before the family decided they had to leave for the party. How responsible of me, isn't it?
Dahlia slides one arm into his and starts to kind of guide him into the room, and under her breath just says, okay, admittedly, that is much better than I thought you were going to do. I didn't think you were going to remember until we actually left. So I will give credit where credit is due. But do you think one time for a single event, you could be ready in time to enter with me?
Darling, I'm sorry. I don't know where time goes. I being the youngest of my brothers, I really don't have the same responsibility everyone else does, so I lose track of myself in the pleasures of life. I recently went hunting, fox season, so that there's just a lot going on. And you know full well when he says there's just a lot going on, it's just him kind of.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot going on. He's just.
He's just kind of a dingus.
Kind of a dingus, like definitely a dingus.
She definitely reaches up behind his ear knowingly and looks at the dirt that's on her finger and says, "You missed a spot."
Oh dear. Oh. And he pulls out the handkerchief from like his pocket, and he just says, "Here, let me get that for you, darling." And then he kind of tries to low key clear the back of his ear too, and he says, "In all seriousness, though, how are you? I meant to send a letter. I just." How is your mother doing?
The Duchess is, as always, the Duchess. A force of nature and determined to work even when she shouldn't be. I've gotten her to give me some of the work, but certainly not all of it. Even still, it's more than enough to make the hours pass by quickly. I'm much more worried about my sisters right now than anything else. And I think this is happening just as the exchange with the LaFays is happening. And she kind of just swivels her head to watch as they separate.
Yeah,
and
Ulysses is like, yeah, it looks like you have your hands full, Lady Dahlia.
I think I'm supposed to be stopping that, but I don't know that I want to be in that crossfire. So let's go see if we can find alcohol, and then we'll deal with things.
Now you're speaking my language, darling. And Ulysses looks over to the table and says, "That's a good start. It's like champagne flutes." And so as the event progresses, there is a sort of procession where all of the families present their eligible children, um, and the LeFays are there presenting Delilah. Um, and there's just a buzz about this party of um, just um, you know, general chatter. You might hear uh, mentions of your family, just people being like, "Well, it's great that the Gardners are here, but you know, where is Lady Camilla?" And um, some of that is kind of floating around, particularly with the members of the peerage. Your family is quite well known as the one of the kind of first advocates for uh, adopted members of the peerage to be recognized as equals um, from their biological children. So that was a whole thing. The Gardners did a lot of like really strong advocacy, and so the Gardner name as a whole in society is very respected and very important. So there's definitely a buzz of like, this is the first time that neither one of your moms have shown up to this event. So there's definitely something like um, kind of in the air where it's noticed. Um, and as far as the vibe check goes, um, there are different conversations about the family to the tune of, so Lady Chrysanthemum, she doesn't have a suitor that I've heard of in recent times. Maybe we could get our daughter in good with her. And there's different, those kinds of conversations, because the other part of the Queen's Ball is the, scoping out the other families of the gentry and the peerage. It's the unofficial official part, because it's the first event of the season, and this is kind of like the update of like, hey, these are new eligible people, and it's probably the first time that uh, everyone's kind of in the same room. I mean, if people are throwing parties, they're not inviting everybody. They're, inviting specific people. But this is everyone in the peerage, everyone in the gentry are all in this party. So it's like the big one. Um, so what would you like to do next, gardeners?
I think we're to call a break.
Okay. What the? Oh, all right. So we are going to take a short break, but we'll be right back. All right. We are back. Yes, we are back. And
Yay.
where we left off was the gardeners at the Queen's Ball. They have just finished the procession of new members of society that have been presented to uh, the Queen. And now the real fun begins. The schmoozing and the, you know, keeping an eye out for matches and seeing who's out there. Um, I will put it to you all as a group. Is there any scenes you would like to see in this at this event? If there's any characters that uh, you think might be fun to have an interaction with.
Can I clarify something really quick?
Absolutely, by all means.
To do any of these actions, we have to spend a resolve token, correct?
To do certain types of things, you have to
Okay.
spend a resolve token. Essentially, if hold on, let me see where the explanation is that would help. Essentially, resolve tokens work. Sorry. Give me
No,
just
it's
one
okay.
moment.
By all means.
So if you want your character or connection to know something that they wouldn't if you want your character to know something that they wouldn't normally know, like essentially if you want to introduce something to the narrative, like, oh, but this character would know that, that would be a resolve token. Basically something that changes the narrative in a significant way.
Okay.
If you want a connection you control to do something that's harmful to the interest of a major character. So if the connection that you're playing wants to do something to affect one of the gardeners in a significant way, you would offer the player a resolve token. Or if you just want to change the narrative and do something potentially that doesn't make sense, like have there be a rainstorm all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Also a resolve token, and also if you want to compel if you want to compel a major character to do something, like what if Chrysanthemum went and like tripped Esther while she was walking in the middle of the ballroom. Offer Chrysanthemum a resolve token for that.
Gotcha.
So those are the different guidelines for resolve tokens to be used, and then the affected parties would then enter what is called a negotiation. So yes, no, yes, but that whole discussion.
So if I wanted to try and like create a reputation tag through doing something, is that also a resolve token, or
the reputation tags will be assigned at the reputation phase based on what you do in the novel chapter, which means if you want to have a specific reputation, you can just do something and then society will probably know about it.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
This is all giving me ideas.
All right. What do you have in mind?
I'm thinking that I could just drag some poor soul onto the dance floor. It doesn't matter who, so long as they're willing. To particularly catch the eye and rouse the ire of Esther. Tonight is going to be a lesson in why you do not snub a gardener.
As it should be.
Okay.
Might not be the way my sisters do it, but I'm willing to spend some resolve to do so.
Well, I mean, you don't necessarily have to spend the resolve tokens, although alternatively, if you want a result that with a little oomph, you can use your popular reputation tag. Use the resolve token attached to that. Just spend it, make it go away, and then you know you may attract several eligible bachelors in that way, not just one.
Maybe even some that were interested in her.
Maybe, you never know, but you can invoke your reputation for a favorable effect if it's positive, or a not so favorable effect if it's negative.
Yeah, I will evoke that popular tag to essentially make everyone look at me. I'm having a Leo moment. Everyone is going to know my name.
Question. Do you want to specifically have Esther take notice?
Yes, I want her to envy.
In that case, who is playing Esther?
Me.
Okay, so then you would offer the token attached to your reputation to Esther, and DK will be the one deciding if this works or not, and you can enter into a negotiation there.
Gotcha.
Well, I was going to offer Abby a resolve token for a tense sapphic confrontation. So this works out in everybody's favor.
Okay, so in that case, what would essentially happen is that the popular tag gets invoked.
Abby's about to have two of these back to back.
There's a resolve token hanging in the air. Esther also has a resolve token offering. So essentially,
it's a two-way resolve token situation.
Essentially, if everyone's in agreement here, Esther stays at 2 resolve tokens, and Chrysanthemum has essentially cleared her reputation tag, which means it's no longer there.
Gotcha.
Esther would like to spend a resolve token to have her dance partner be Arthur Doyle.
I mean, so technically, okay, so I'm playing Arthur this evening, but that affects Abby as well.
Yes.
So I'm basically saying, okay, in that case, then Esther removes a resolve token, and Chrysanthemum gets 1.
So y'all are savage.
Okay, so here's what happens then. So the popular tag gets invoked because that is what Abby has chosen. So this is like essentially when they take to the ballroom, there's a young gentleman, son of a viscount, like just freshly introduced to society as well. So this poor guy just gets wrapped up in Hurricane Chrysanthemum, and they decide to dance with you, and there are like several pairs of eyes of bachelors and bachelorettes, eligible people of all different kinds, just watching as Lady Chrysanthemum moves across the floor and glides, and then does Esther have a title? Clarification? Is it just
Esther's
Miss
a lady,
Buffet?
I think.
Yeah.
Lady Esther and Mr. Doyle are also totally like in this elegantly dancing around. Okay, so as it turns out, the Regency era technically is like pre-waltzing, but I just really like the idea of everyone waltzing, so that's in my brain. I made this world, so Everyone's waltzing.
Everyone's waltzing.
It's Regency era waltz. It's fine.
Could I pull
So everyone's just
Delilah into a dance, for that matter? As I spot her with my lover.
I would like to spend a facilitator resolve token just to have it be like a sudden like switcheroo of partners. and
I just throw her sister
Arthur Doyle ends up with this random young Viscount. They're all just swirling. They just waltz off.
I'm living in the Regency shade.
And I'm just locking eyes with Esther as like I take another partner.
Okay, so I'm gonna offer that token to Esther, if that's okay with Esther for that to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Cool. Okay, so how does this play out?
Abby, do you want to go first?
Yes. I want to say, like, at first it's some random young man, then it's like, but that's not making enough of a point. In fact, as I see you take Arthur into your arms, there is just this little flame that is just burning in my heart. I'm just like, I need to make this harder. So I take your sister into my arms, and it's very, like, there is no space for the Holy Spirit. There is no space for a Bible. It is, I have her pressed to me. Not that she would be, like, pushing away. If she was, I would let her go, but but I am making direct eye contact with you. It's like that scene from It's Always Sunny, just as I dip her low.
Esther also woke up and chose violence today, knowing that this event was going to happen. So she is wearing a dress that could barely be constituted as having sleeves. That is, the hem is about the same length as the one that Chrysanthemum is wearing, almost as if they have similar ideas about fashion. But her dress is very, very brightly colored. It's very much a peacock showing its feathers. So it's deep, vivid jewel tones and just so much taffeta. She came to be seen immediately and to be seen in particular by Lady Chrysanthemum. And she's not certain about it, but I think she's heard rumors about Chrysanthemum and Arthur Doyle being spotted out together. And she has opinions about that she's going to keep to herself for now. So I think she does sort of just sidle up to Arthur Doyle as the next dance begins and hold out her hand. And he, being a gentleman, presumably takes her hand and begins the dance, having no idea what he has just stepped into.
No, it's a Regency cat fight.
And what happens next?
I think I'm going to spend a token to steal Arthur away from Esther. How dare she tread upon my territory? Is that okay with you, Esther?
That is yes, I'm 100%.
Everyone's just trading the same token back and forth. I love it.
It's just a game of
I'm
Battleship
chilling
now.
over here with one token, and I'm like, feel free to give me tokens, friends.
I'm actually gonna, instead of just dancing with him, I'm going to pull Arthur away from the dance. Like, as like the spin and the music goes, I'm just going to, like, as he spins away from Esther, I'm just gonna take his hands and be like, "Oh, Mother, I never expected to see you here. Why don't we go out to the balcony, somewhere private?" And just like as I'm leaning in to whisper into his ear, I'm again making eye contact with Esther. Just like, two can play at this game.
Oh wow! I think
Esther just smiles and curtsies, just very knowingly, as if to say, "You've won this round."
I feel scandalized.
That was exactly as satisfying as I hoped that it would be.
It was amazing.
I am so proud of all of you. Kristen, what does Iris get up to?
Yeah, I would like to spend a resolve token to find Lucy, who Abby plays, somewhere at the event and sort of kind of corner her to have a conversation.
I'm gonna say, you know what? I really want to see this, so keep your resolve token. I am going to offer up. I'm going to offer up one of the facilitator tokens and be like, I want to see this happen. So
Great.
I'm gonna drop you a token. I'm gonna drop Iris a token for this. Go find your girl.
Yeah, so Iris would scan the crowd like a hawk in between polite, like, oh, hello, yes, how's the business? Da, 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 da. And yeah, I mean, where would Lucy be?
I think Lucy would be by the flowers. She's not the kind of person for these parties, especially since, her heart was broken by someone who once wove through these parties so excellently.
Yeah, so it wouldn't take Iris too long to catch on to the fact that, oh, right, Lucy never really loved coming to these anyway, even when it was with me, and would spot her and just slowly walk up. Just very false, calm demeanor, and Lucy would probably be able to see through it, but most people wouldn't be able to. And she'd just go, darling, did you get my letter today?
I think Lucy is just going to look up with a very similar fake calm demeanor. Like, she is heart is beating like a drum, and I'm sure Iris can see through that as well, but she'll look up and say, I haven't had the servants check the mail yet, but it is delightful that you've made some time for me, my dear.
Yes, I wasn't 100% sure that you would be here this evening. It's wonderful to actually see you out and about.
Yes, I suppose so. Family obligations, seeing the latest theatrics, and she'll just jerk her head towards the dance floor.
Yes, it is quite something, isn't it? The sight to behold of the evening, it would seem.
I'm shocked that you weren't more involved yourself, but you're quite a sight yourself as well, Iris. A welcome one.
Oh, and she actually gets like a little choked up at that, not having expected that to come from Lucy, very unsure of where they actually stand, but definitely wanting to test the waters. No, I don't want to be too involved with my younger sister's antics. I do try to stop her from participating in them, but think we all know that's a battle already lost.
Indeed. Already I heard something about a ghost orgy, but that aside, I was wondering, what brought you here?
God. Here to this event, do you mean?
Oh no. You know how your sister goes about, but what brought you here of all places? To me.
Dearest Lucy, it has been quite some time, but as ever, as I have and will forever, have found you on my mind. Things are, finally a little bit slow in my life, and, we have the Queen's little party here, and I'm overjoyed to have found you at it. But we have quite a bit of catching up to do, don't we?
I suppose so, and Lucy is going to take a step closer. A step that brings them to a distance that is not like, it's no longer just polite, it's intimate. And she's just going to say, found time to pencil me into your busy schedule now, is it?
I do believe that penciling you into my schedule is something that I can prioritize, unlike before. If you would like to be penciled in.
Is that so? You expect me to be so eager that I suddenly make time for your precious writing? What, did you expect me to come forward, my legs spread for you, pleased to finally be in the lovely Iris Gardner schedule? And her drink is very close to spilling at this point.
I think, darling, that perhaps you've had too much to drink, and Iris will just try and go for the drink and hide the fact that that comment really wounded her.
I would like to spend a resolve token to have just some to have uh someone over here part of this conversation, like the tail end of it. I would specifically like to have oh, what's her name? Sophia Lovelace.
Great.
You
Fantastic.
can say no, you can say yes, you can
No,
say
yes, no. I love drama. I just also
okay.
will emotionally react to said drama.
Okay, you know what? I'll use Sophia's token and I will offer it to Iris. So if you're cool with it, you
Yep,
can
I'll take it.
I also have a token to offer Iris as Lucy enters her rage.
Okay.
I would like to throw my drink in her face.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, I'll take it. Give me the token. I'll take it. I'm taking it right now.
So are you okay with Sophia having overheard this in passing, like unseen or
yeah. Sophia can see the drink in the face and everything. Just eat it up. Yeah, absolutely.
So like as she says, like as Iris gives this, I think you've had too much to drink. Lucy's just gonna say, I think it's you who's had too much time on your hands. She's going to dash it in her face.
Oh!
Talk to me when you don't have a writing schedule. You could be a human for once. She's just gonna gather up her skirts and stomp outside.
Joke's on you. I spend most of my time at parties instead of writing. She's just gonna like pull like a napkin out from like her bustier or wherever she's stuffed one and just barely tidy up. I mean, it's not gonna do much, but it's better than nothing. She looks very dejected and upset, especially now that Lucy isn't right there, like, looking at her face. She's kind of she doesn't see anybody else around. If she saw other people around, she would school it together again, but because she thinks she has a moment of privacy, she's kind of let the depression show.
Okay. As we end that unfortunate moment, if there is anything else that any scenes you would like to get in on this party, we can end it there for that particular evening. Does anybody have anything else?
No, I think we got pretty messy for one evening.
All
right.
right.
Was out canoodling with Arthur under a gazebo or something. She's having a great time.
I would like to spend a resolve token to have Dahlia follow Chrysanthemum and Arthur out to where they're going and just look at her little sister very sternly over his shoulder.
Okay. So there's the negotiation. Abby, what say
Yes,
you?
please.
Okay. Cool. Those tokens can be marked off. Are y'all doing it? Okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay, is that it? Is that all of the business that we have? Excellent. That concludes our very first novel chapter. Woo! Congratulations, everyone. Y'all made it. And now we are going to examine your reputations. Yay! So the reputation phase we will answer some questions and see if you have you gain a negative tag, a positive tag, both, none. We'll see how it goes. So we will start with let's start with Dahlia. And the reputation criteria for being a member of the peerage: gain a positive tag if you acted in service of duty or morality in a way that compromised your desires, acted in obedience to society's conventions despite considerable hardship in doing so, made a sacrifice or denied your desires to uphold the superiority of your rank. Any of these sound? I feel like you could get one. Um, in the acted in service of duty, or you know.
Yeah, I think she personally understands where Chrysanthemum is coming from and doesn't have any personal problem with it morally, but knows that this is their first event without both of their mothers there, and that she's supposed to be the one keeping this carriage on the path that it's on. So I think it was very much. I would love. I think she wanted to go catch frogs herself, and then instead of doing that, she was like, "I gotta go get my little sister."
So I think that if anything, Dahlia would gain a tag that something like dutiful, or yeah, I would say you can put down dutiful. Um, So all of you have to answer the same question, so you can consider your reputation as we're going through this. And then I will get to you. Gain a negative tag if you acted in contravention of society's conventions. No. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like you have a negative tag. You did not act on a desire that compromised your duty. And you didn't allow others of lesser rank to talk down to you or treat you as an inferior. Well, I don't think your siblings did. It's fine. You're good. No negative tags for you.
Great.
Iris.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Considering those questions,
I have an argument to make in favor.
Okay, no. I want to hear, like,
okay.
I want to hear what you like, where you think Iris is at.
Yes, so I feel like she would get one of each. I think she would get a positive tag for acting in obedience to society's conventions and stepping in with her sister Delilah and Esther to calm the situation down. And the considerable hardship in doing so being having to deal with her sister because of the bit of a volatile situation that is currently between them, and knowing that the hardship could be something blowing up between them, but she risked it anyway for the hope of it turning out well. And in that case, I think I would think of like a tag of like maybe courage or insightful or observant.
You know what? Insightful. I'll give you that one. I feel like Iris knew her sister well enough to jump in there. So that's a good one. Negative?
I do think she has a negative one too, which was acting on her desire for Lucy, which compromised her duty as a socialite, which is to be, you know, very present, center of attention, schmoozing people, and not covered in wine. Because your ex threw it on you. So I think she would probably get like a tag of like desperate.
Hey, you know what? I don't have anything better. Like, yeah,
great.
That definitely fits. I
I'm
feel like
loving
Iris.
this for her.
I feel like Iris started out strong and then just kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a rough night for Iris.
It
Okay.
sure was.
Oof. And
Oh, poor
Chrysanthemum.
Iris. Chrysanthemum.
So what
I
are
too
we?
have an argument for one positive and a negative, but let's see what you have to
No,
say
no,
first.
no. You know what? I want to hear where you think your character is at. I'm only here to suggest things if you don't have any ideas.
So Chrysanthemum, I think she fell into society's expectations, albeit in a more wild way, in that she did not let her failed engagement with Esther keep her from being her truest self and being timid. Because it initially was a snub from Esther, but she has not, if anything, she's become more ferocious in this matter.
Well, I mean, like, definitely, I would say Chrysanthemum definitely maintained appearances. Like, she showed up. She showed up. You know, despite the previous scandal, she showed up.
Consistency.
Consistency, that's her tag.
I mean, consistent. Consistently a disaster.
It's true. And for the
But
rest of that night.
consistent's a good tag. You know, if that's what you're leaning for, what the argument is, she's there. um,
She's there, she's present.
So, I mean, which positive tag are you leaning towards?
I'm leaning towards consistency for that positive tag.
Consistent. Okay. Consistent. That's good. And for you, where are you, what are you thinking for your negative tag? She got into like the social version of like a cat fight. There was no physical violence, but you definitely made a show out there with Hester on the dance floor. So
It would definitely be, I would want to say something like volatile, because Chrysanthemum has a temper. She's not yet learned how to rein it in.
oh, I absolutely
And while it
agree.
might, some people might see it as a way, yeah, some people might see it as, oh, don't mess with the Gardners. Others are going to be like, I don't want that girl in my family. She's just going to pick fights.
Yeah. Okay. Volatile seems good. And that is the
Yes.
end of our reputation phase. Now, here is the fun part. So, Story Brewers Role Playing released a supplement that changes the rumor and scandal phase, essentially to simulate Lady Whistledown's scandal sheet from Bridgerton. So we're gonna do it up a little bit, right? So each of you will have 2 turns to either suggest a rumor, create it, or confirm it if it's not confirmed on the list. And then rumors that have been created but have not been confirmed are going to idle out at the next rumors and scandals round. So you have one round to kind of make them relevant. Those rumors that are confirmed and are essentially at the front page of the scandal sheet, they will have a resolve token attached to them, because those are the really relevant rumors in society. So if you invoke a rumor that is relevant to the plot and use the resolve token to, have knowledge of the rumor and use it to advance the scene, that's another way you can make it relevant. And then once that rumor has been once the resolve token from the rumor has been used, then it will become an idle rumor and it will just kind of float there. and it won't matter as much. So, let's make it even messier, shall we? I am going to start with Kristen.
Oh no.
What are you
Okay.
feeling?
So,
Rumor-wise.
rumor-wise. So, okay. My brain needs a little bit of help.
Okay.
That help being, so one, is this an opportunity for me to start a rumor if I
Yeah,
would
you
like?
can. Well, okay. So this is a player thing that helps kind of complicate the story. So it's
Yeah.
not necessarily from your character unless you specify you want it from your character.
Okay. So I could also start a rumor about my character.
You absolutely can. I do that all the time in other games.
Okay. I think.
I'll write it down for y'all, so don't worry about it. Just tell me what's up.
All right. So the rumor that I would like to have started is. Oh goodness. I want the rumor to start that Iris writes naughty novels, but people don't know under what name. So they're saying like, we don't know how
Okay,
or
so
who.
Lady Iris Moonlight says a novelist of naughty stories. Okay, sure, let's go with that. So, as more rumors are created, you can either spread them by confirming them or just let them idle out. Abby, what you got?
Oh, I actually would like to spin a rumor for our lovely sister Dahlia.
Okay.
And that she and Ulysses are planning to elope. I imagine that Chrysanthemum is the one encouraging this rumor since she's repeatedly asked her sister.
So okay, I want specifically to know, is this a rumor that Chrysanthemum has spread into society herself?
Oh, yeah.
This is an important question.
She never directly says it, but she's always like, oh, I don't know if they've even slept together yet, but just the way that she looks
so she
at
just
him.
encourages it.
Yeah, she is the one giving
loudly
it
in front of anyone she can.
She just writes into Lady Weatherington's scandal sheet and says, maybe? Question mark. Okay, so I'm going to write this. Lady Dahlia and Lord Ulysses are planning to elope. Cool. Yeah. DK, what you got? Do you want to spread it? Do you want to start one? You have 2 turns. Okay, let's go. What you got?
I would like to start the rumor that Lady Esther LeFay has recently become engaged, just before coming back to Avondale, in fact.
Okay, gotten engaged. Oh, dang. Engaged prior to returning to Avondale. Okay, here we go. It just gets increasingly juicier.
It's gonna drive Chrysanthemum mad. She is gonna sniff it out.
Okay. I feel like, okay. Do any of y'all want to confirm these rumors? Or start a different one? You have a second turn.
Just to clarify, to confirm a rumor, you have to spend a token, yes?
No, it's just something you do in this phase. You have 2 turns, so you can use your second turn
Gotcha.
to confirm a rumor. Or just make another one up.
I actually would love to confirm the rumor concerning Lady Esther LeFay.
Okay. That's great. What else y'all got?
I want to. start a rumor
Okay, let's
that
hear it.
Peregrine
Mhm.
asked Dahlia to marry them.
Oh no!
Oh. Hold on.
So messy.
Oh no!
Oh.
Dahlia's too responsible. I gotta rock her world. We gotta get some drama in there somehow, besties.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I
here for
respect
it.
it. Has proposed to Lady Dahlia. Is that what it is?
Yep.
That's it? You're just gonna leave that hanging? Because that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because I want everyone to be like,
Okay.
Ulysses, Peregrine, what?
Who's it gonna be? It's a Twilight situation.
Exactly. I just Twilighted us.
We need shirts. Team Peregrine, Team Ulysses.
If there was your other sibling, there would be more energy in this. There would be more confirming.
Oh, just
like,
you wait.
I feel like okay. So then, I think Abby, did you confirmed one?
Oh yeah, I confirmed
Kristen?
it.
Okay,
I created
Kristen,
one.
one.
I created
DK,
two.
what you got?
I would like to
me.
confirm the rumor that Iris writes fictional filth.
All right.
Moonlights is enough.
She's a teller of tantalizing tales.
Uh-huh.
All right. So, something of note in the next rumor and scandal phase, there are two rumors that will fade out and go on to the idol gossip if they are not spread. But it won't happen until the end of the next rumor and scandal phase. So that's still a thing. However, it's also to note that the confirmed rumors are now on the front page of Lady Weatherington's society papers, and they can be invoked in a scene, and you can use the resolve token attached to them.
Wonderful.
So to kind of wrap up this this phase of the game, how do you come across Lady Weatherington's society papers and find out about these rumors?
Iris has those papers delivered to her like every day.
So is it Annabeth that like personally hand delivers them to you?
Yes.
So give me a little snapshot of what happens like the day after the ball, the Queen's Ball, and you get the latest copy of the society papers.
I imagine Iris has an obnoxiously large bed, and that her preferred decor is like all dark colors, so like dark blues and blacks and maybe some gold accents. But she also loves natural light, so she has large windows. Her doors out to like a balcony are all glass. And so it's early in the morning, and she would have the balcony doors open with like the breeze coming in, sipping on tea, feeling very sorry for herself because of everything that happened the previous evening. And Annabeth would come in with the papers, probably grimacing, like, ooh, oh no, I've seen something.
So Annabeth definitely looks like she does not want to give this over to you, but it's part of her duty, like her.
Come on, hand them over now. It's routine, dear.
Lady Iris, are you sure? And
of course I'm sure. What would you possibly be? And she would take them.
Oh no. Okay, so when you look at Annabeth, she's literally like this, not wanting to see your reaction.
I'm sorry, is this a joke? Did you write this yourself?
No, I
This is real. This is the actual papers that
this is the papers that
for public consumption, dear.
These are the papers you've sent me to fetch. I would never dare.
This is absurd.
She kind of like when Iris gets upset, she kind of jumps back a little bit and is like, may I get you some tea?
Dear, there's not enough tea in the world.
How about we start with 1 cup?
All right.
And she screams off because she is absolutely terrified that Iris is upset. Lady Iris is
Yeah.
upset.
Yeah, I
She just like,
imagine the headline says something like Lady Iris Gardner, lots of erotic flowers in bloom. I
She
don't know.
spreads her petals for all to see.
Yes, perfect. Perfect. And she would just be mortified. But also would note that her pseudonym was not listed, so it's still, they don't know her pseudonym. So
and Chrysanthemum, how do you come across the scandal sheet on this day?
You know, like a typical younger sibling, Chrysanthemum has wandered into Iris's room and she sees the paper and just looks at the. I knew it when she reads the headline. But as her eyes draw down and she sees Esther's name, actually, does this confirmed rumor include the name of her affianced? Because I have an idea for
No,
that.
it doesn't.
It doesn't. She's her hands are just shaking with rage as she gets to that part. The rest is amusing, but there's, like camera going out. You just see the house. There's a pitching scream and birds fly out.
It is the scream heard all over Spring Blossom Estate, and all
the
of
shout heard
all
across
of
Spring
this,
Blossom.
all of the staff have scurried from the main floor and have hidden downstairs where they're safe. Essentially, they are all terrified.
She just smashes open Iris's doors. Like, after her eyes were all over me last night, she was practically undressing me. She was that hard. I need to know who this is. It can't be real. It can't be. She's never been over me.
You realize your eyes were on her the whole night as well, right? Iris will just say, like, as she won't even look up. She'll be at her desk writing, just like,
yeah, like Chrysanthemum's like, she's got a face mask on. She's out of like a calming bath that the servants have drawn for her, but she's just like, no, she's doing this to get to me. That's the thing. She wants me back.
Have you ever get out of my room?
Yeah. Have you ever considered, darling, that you actually want to be back with her?
No, never. It's not that I've dreamed of her at night or I've said her name whilst Arthur and I are intimate, but you need to help me find out who her fiancé is. I promise. No, I won't go into your room.
What do you get from finding out who it is?
Whether or not she still cares for me.
Oh, and that matters to you, then? You admit?
No, it's
yes, oh, just idle curiosity, then? Oh, okay. Yes, I thought so.
I would like to spend a resolve token for Annabeth to overhear this as she's coming back to deliver the tea.
Okay.
I would like to offer this resolve token to Chrysanthemum, I guess, because she's on a tirade.
Oh yeah, she has been stomping around the house.
Okay, cool. So I will offer one of Annabeth's resolve tokens if you would accept it.
Thank you kindly.
Okay, so yeah. I'll put it in. Hold on, don't do anything. Okay, so then as Iris is saying, oh, so it's idle curiosity, then you hear the door knock. And it's just like,
Chrysanthemum's gonna jump like she's seen a ghost.
Come in, Annabeth.
Oh, Lady Chrysanthemum. I only brought one cup of tea for Lady Iris. I didn't know you were here.
Oh, she needs it more than me.
And then she goes from offering the tea to Lady Iris and goes,
Oh yeah, like still holding her towel up. Chrysanthemum's just gonna grab it, chug it in one go, flop back on Iris's bed.
All right.
Chrysanthemum, I will look into my network and connections and find out who this individual is.
And Dahlia. How does Lady Dahlia come across the scandal sheet?
Dahlia?
You guys also see the idol rumors, those that have not been confirmed. They're also on the sheet. They're just on the second page, like the back side.
Dahlia wrote the paper. I'm gonna get back at these sisters of mine if it's the last thing I do.
I think
Damn kids.
I think that morning, Dahlia was, after seeing Chrysanthemum go off into like a dark alcove with Arthur Doyle, she was anticipating some scandal. So she specifically requested that Ulysses bring her a copy. So I think he's shown up.
Are you having him over for like breakfast or something?
Yeah. He's just kind of a fixture because he lives so close. He's just sort of always near or like doing boy stuff in the woods. Right.
So what happens is when the staff is trying to like announce his arrival, but he just storms in and is like, Dahlia, dear, you have to read this. And he shows her the sheet at the front page where all of the confirmed gossip is. But then he turns around and he turns it around and he says, "Could you believe this idle gossip?" And he shows you the non-confirmed rumors side.
I think Dahlia sees the front page of the paper and a look of extreme fatigue crosses her face as she realizes that this is going to adversely affect her household. And then he flips over the second one and her face kind of goes white. And she just sort of looks at the paper and just sits down for a second. And before she is fully seated in the chair, she pops back out of the chair, grabs the sheet off of the table, and goes stomping down the hall in search of her sisters.
Or like Chrysanthemum, like I think is left up from the bed at this point. It's like, "Oh, you're the best sister, Iris. I promise I won't do anything at first. I'll wear a properly lined hem. Just thank you. She's kissing her cheeks excitedly as she's promised to help.
I don't actually care about what clothes you wear, by the way.
Alright, well, a favor then. Just whatever.
Yes,
Dahlia busts
favor indeed.
Yeah, I think Dahlia definitely just like not quite kicks the door in, but it definitely like slams back, and she just stands in the doorway and holds up the sheet.
Annabeth jumps and immediately runs away.
Iris is so numb, like she is so hardened from this that she would just continue writing. Just wouldn't even look up at all of the ruckus, would just keep writing.
Then there's a head that peeks through the door. Hold on. Did you name your like main chambermaid for Chrysanthemum? I don't remember what her name was. My brain.
I had many, but
well, like your most
one.
trusted one, like the one that has seniority, I guess.
All right, I would say that is she's actually the eldest maid because she's the one who takes no shit, and Chrysanthemum will push limits as far as she can.
Well, the one
amazing, fantastic.
Althea is the oldest of the chambermaids, and
Dahlia's
only chambermaid. But you can. What's her name?
Agnes. She might not be the oldest, but she's also old. She's very stubborn. Maybe she was a school matron. Who knows?
Okay, Agnes. Okay, cool. So Agnes peeks through and she's like, "Lady Chrysanthemum, your outfit is ready." Because, she's still in a towel.
Oh, about time. I think she's going to excuse that Dahlia's burst into the room and take this as a chance to not have to answer to her older sister. Oh, I have to go change. I'll see you, sisters.
I think Dahlia bars the door jamb with her hand.
Oh damn. So Agnes also like walks away at this point and just like, nope, not dealing with that.
I don't think she said anything yet. I think she's just waiting in the doorframe. And then finally she looks at the sheet of paper that's in her hands and says, Let's have a talk about last night, shall we? It was our first event.
The cut of the dress?
It's about a lot of things, Chrysanthemum. This was our first event without our parents. And not only has one of you ended up on page 1, and of course they are just rumors, Iris, although I do have an idea for you. Remind me.
Okay.
Chrysanthemum.
Yes, sister?
I fully support whatever that was on the dance floor last night. I do. Esther is smug and obnoxious and reminds me a little bit of myself, and I don't like that very much. So I fully support whatever you have to do. However, not at the expense of your reputation. The next time, I will tell Mother and the Duchess.
Okay. She was so smug and I had to rub her nose in it, and she still... Chrysanthemum, like, just points at the line where she is engaged. I can't believe it. She still loves me, and I still love her.
There it is. I knew it all along.
Just do me a favor. You are not new in society, and you are painfully clever. There are ways to get to her if you must, and I understand if you must, without creating problems for the family name, and I know you know that.
I do, Dahlia.
I don't even mind if you sneak off with Arthur Doyle. Just don't do it in front of an audience, maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of the opposite of sneak off, is when you don't do the sneaking.
Chrysanthemum was just going to glare at Iris. It was to make a point. I don't even care for him that much.
And then I think Dahlia turns to Iris and actually like moves by her desk so she's within her line of sight and taps the one with her name on it and says, "First question, is it true? I just need a yes or no. I have really no concern either way."
No.
There is, okay, wait. Did Dahlia shut the door? She did, right?
Once she entered into the room to talk with her sisters.
Okay. Like, cut to the hallway where there's a random chambermaid reading an Irene Farmer novel. It's the same chambermaid reading the Irene Farmer novel.
Weird.
Dahlia does her deep breathing exercises briefly and just... I'm asking because I also publish under a pseudonym, and I have a recommendation. You don't have to take it, and I assume that you won't, but it's something worth thinking about. If this were true, let's just say, if this were a true fact about you, it is still something that could be held over your head because your pseudonym hasn't been revealed. You have two options. You can wait for it to come out if, again, in our fantasy scenario, it is true.
Very much so fantasy.
Or you could go the other direction and actually put your name on it, because then it can't be used against you.
Nothing to put my name on, sister.
Of course, purely fictional scenario. Just a thought exercise that I thought you would enjoy.
I've never written fiction before, so it's all a little bit new to me.
Well, maybe you should try your hand at it. Apparently, society thinks you'd be great at it. Can't imagine where they would have gotten that idea, but you might as well run with it.
Neither can I.
Well, sisters, this was a quite lightning shot. I am going to put on a dress, and Chrysanthemum is just going to scamper.
The entire time she's being scolded in a towel.
Like, she's got, like, her hair, like, in wax and all that. She's just so...
Dahlia
Like
will let her
wonderful
go.
reputations. Oh.
Dahlia will let her go and just kind of like leave Iris's room, but still kind of looking at her suspiciously, like she does not believe her sister at all.
Before Dahlia's out of earshot, Iris will say just loud enough for Dahlia to hear, I do, but I don't want Chrysanthemum to know at any cost.
The door slips shut, and just before it slips shut, Iris hears, understood. And then the door just closes.
Okay. Very nice. So that is the official end of the kind of rumor and scandal phase. I love that I added that in as like an extended part of it because I love that. So that we could essentially say was kind of like a visitation among the sisters. For our second novel chapter, I was thinking if you had any individual scenes of people you wanted to talk to before the cycle is over, we can go through that, and then kind of deal with finishing off the cycle next week. But if there were some ideas of some scenes you want to throw around. Also, quick follow-up question. Did you just leave Ulysses at the like dining table or wherever you guys were hanging out for breakfast?
No, he fully kept pace, and then when he realized that one of them was in a towel, he kind of threw his hands up and then just went back downstairs to wait.
Yeah, no, he went back to the breakfast. Okay, cool. Right. So if any of y'all have... Oh, wait, no, we can't do... Okay, good. We'll have half of this cycle finished by this evening. There is one more phase that we can do this evening, and it's called the epistolary phase. The epistolary phase is where you have 2 turns to either write a letter, write a journal entry, describe a dream or a nightmare, or have a weather interlude. And everyone can choose those options twice. So we'll go around and give everybody a chance to do that.
I can go first.
So what are you feeling for your first turn?
Yeah, so the first turn, Iris will write a letter to Lucy to be delivered. So she will write, Dearest Lucy, your anger is correct. I do not blame you for it. In fact, I willingly burn beneath the heat of your rage. For any attention from you is more welcome than your silence. Dearest, I know I have hurt you so, and that I cannot fathom that pain. But not a day has gone by without you on my mind and in my heart. Please, may I have an audience with you? Forever yours, Iris Gardner. And she will send that off to Lucy.
Okay. Okay. I think... Wait, who is playing Lucy, by the way? I keep forgetting.
Abby.
Oh, Abby. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have 2 turns for both your main character and any of the connections you might play. So you might want to save your turn. Like, if you want your main character to do something, you know, I just wanted to... Because y'all decided to play 2 connections. Or some of you decided to play 2 connections, so... You don't get anything extra for that. Whose turn
Aw.
is it next?
I think I will go, and although I have an idea for Lucy, I will play upon that soon, but I think Chrysanthemum, as she's being soothed by various maids and given various tinctures and teas, she falls into a sleep and has a nightmare.
Oh no.
It's one of those Freudian dreams, like where you're walking through an endless void and stairs, and she can hear wedding bells in the background. As she opens the doors to this grand and gilded chapel, all the faces are rather like they're almost like water paint, like one of Dahlia's Monets, just scattered about. The only two people she can see clearly are the bride and the groom, and they happen to be none other than Arthur and Esther. And at that moment, she wakes up with a sweat just clutching at her chest.
That is awful, and I feel bad for Chrysanthemum.
She kind of, I mean, to be fair, she kind of deserves it.
Well, I'm not about to do that game because that's y'all's game. DK, what do you got?
Dahlia is going to write a letter to Peregrine Cabot.
Yes.
Enclosed is the scandal sheet with the rumor about them in it. And then there is a folded note that's on top of that. And the note says, Peregrine Cabot, you insufferable little weasel. Which one of my sisters did you tell? With a series of question marks. And then just... like there are scribble marks where she started to write something and thought better of it and scratched it out. And then it says, I said no for a reason. Signed, Dahlia Gardner. And she folds it up and has someone send it out to Sweet to the Cabot estate.
Okay, do you have someone like Annabeth who just is like, if you need something delivered fast, you send them on your horse?
I think she truly relies on Althea for everything, and Althea is kind of a salty older woman who looks at it and looks at Dahlia's face and says, all right, but it very much is a thing where she'll get to it when she gets to it. When she finishes her business for the day, then she'll take care of this extra thing.
Sure. Oh, yeah, so Iris's letter, is that sent Annabeth via horse?
Yes.
One of them?
Yeah.
I love that. That is a new thing. I'm putting that down. Oh my god. While I recover from that, Kristen, what are you doing with your second turn? It can be your connections that you play, or you, as well. So
great, wonderful. I will do something as Peregrine. Upon receiving a particular interesting piece of mail from one Dahlia Gardner, they would write back. I'm being very particular. Just, of course, it was Chrysanthemum. Period. And that's all they'll send back. Oh, wait. No. They will send that, but then also an article that highlights their most recent archaeology award that they've won publicly. And it's like an award of high renown, and they will circle that in the paper clipping and send it back with the simple note.
Beautiful. I think Dahlia gets it and is first annoyed and then kind of impressed by just the silent shade. And then looking around her study to make sure that no one, even Althea, is around, she's going to reach into her desk and pull out a scrapbook and carefully trim out the circled section from Peregrine's letter and just stick it in the gum corners, and then very quickly close it and put it back in the desk to hide her shame.
Oh my goodness.
It's so sweet. Oh boy. I think our dear Iris is going to get her response from Lucy. And again, it is going to be rather to the point, similar to Peregrine's. It is going to be, written in her finest parchment. There's a bit of her signature perfume on it. It's patchouli. And all it has is prove it with a lock of her hair.
Oh my god. Oh.
Good. Sweet Jesus. Oh my gosh. All right. So, you got one more, DK, and we're going to wrap it up for the evening. What you got?
All right. I would like to do something as Esther, but I would like to spend. Do I have resolve left? I don't remember after
Wait,
Abby and I just traded the same resolve back and forth.
If you were doing it on behalf of Esther, she has her own pool separate from Dahlia's.
Well, here is what I would like. I would like for Esther to send something, but I would like to spend resolve for Dahlia to intercept it.
Spicy.
Okay, so here's what I would say then, because the letter is being sent to Chrysanthemum.
Yes.
Then you would offer the token to Abby.
Abby, I'm going to offer you a token to make this even messier.
I love a mess, and I adore you. I will take it.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Make that exchange. Let's hear this letter.
I would like, it's not strictly speaking a letter. Althea calls Dahlia down to the front door after a messenger arrives and silently presses something into her hands. And Dahlia peeks at it and immediately shoves it in the pocket of her dress and goes for her study. And when she gets upstairs, she opens it up and looks at it. And it is a wedding invitation, or rather an invitation to an engagement party that Esther is having. And there is just a lip print on it on the bottom corner. And I want Dahlia to just fold that up and quietly put it in her desk.
Sweet baby Jesus. Okay. Yeah. That concludes the end of our very first epistolary phase and the end of our session this evening. Holy smokes. 100 out of 10 exceeded my expectations. Oh boy.
Oh my goodness.
All right, so before I completely melt into a puddle with how proud I am of all of you, let's do outros, starting with Kristen. What are you doing when you are not being Lady Iris, our resident secret author?
Yeah, of smutty novels. When I am not Iris, you can find me as Renori on Stormborn's Curse, or at twitch.tv/dauntless every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, including this upcoming Friday. And I'm also in a charity one-shot this Saturday on twitch.tv/dauntless at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm raising money for the Marsha P. Johnson charities. So we're kicking off Pride Month a couple of days early. And yeah, I'm super stoked. So tune in for that too. You can find everything I'm up to on my Twitter. So the end.
All right. And next up we have DK. What are you doing when you're not being the most awesome oldest sibling?
Just so aggressive. I am DK. When I am not here, I am typically DMing over on Exquisite Corpse Presents. We're throwing a Met Gala this weekend, and the cast is dressing up in real life for this fictional fashion couture event. There's going to be espionage and violence, and it's going to be great. So definitely feel free to swing by for that. And then you can also catch me on Q Times in about 30 minutes for Blackness and Dragons Season 4. We are trying to prove who the true heir to our kingdom is. And that's going to get pretty messy also. Also, Rufio's there, and that's very good. Yeah, That's it. That's me. Those are the things I do.
And oh boy, Abby, our lovely hedonist disaster. Who are you when you're not here?
Shucks. Well, you can find me on Twitter as Enough of Abby, and actually, right before this stream, you can find me on Ampersand D20's channel playing the mad scientist character in Blades in the Dark, where we engage in 1920 shenanigans, as well on Mr. Mephisto's channel, where I'm playing in his V5 game as the lovely Nosferatu Pixie. And of course, you can find me here.
And I am your facilitator, Anne, and I enable this chaos? Yay! I'm here on Tuesdays facilitating Good Society, but I'm also playing Good Society tomorrow on Wednesdays over at the Critical Mrs. Twitch channel. You know, what else is happening? On Saturdays, yes, on Saturdays, I am on Vancouver by Night playing Vampire the Masquerade V5 in their Toronto by Night short chronicle limited series. Session 2 is coming out this Saturday. Yeah, I know my schedule. You can find me on Twitter at XO_girlwonder. I am going to post more things because I forget stuff with my brain not working sometimes. But you'll find me on Twitter, and I will tell you where to find me elsewhere. And I just want to say thank you to my lovely players. I want to say thank you to the lovely audience out there. Yeah, we'll see you same time next week for more Regency era shenanigans with the Gardners.
I can't wait for it.
Oh, who
It's
are
gonna
we?
be wonderful.